Hurts, slant, Brown, lunge, touchdown Philadelphia. A.J. Brown snatched it out of the air for the score. Checks wing, well hit ball, and there it goes. Number 300 for Ken Griffey Jr. One of the youngest ever in the major leagues to reach the 300 home run plateau. Bothered by Lou. Iverson. How about that? Steps over Teron Lou. 7 straight points by Iverson.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a breaking news moment that I didn't think I was going to do, but yet I'm here. And the crazy part is, I thought to myself, I was just doing the Mets and the Phillies game. I had no intention of doing it. And then I get it. And then during the stream, G Money, one of my subscribers, is going to be doing the game with me tomorrow between the Heat and the Nuggets for game 1 of the finals, ends up telling me that Shannon Sharpe is going to part ways with Undisputed. And I'm like, okay, I was like, this might be kind of fake news, but I was like, let me look it up. And then he said he read articles. And then what do? I look up the articles, and all over the New York Post, on Yahoo, on Sports Rush, on fadeawayworld.net, all say Shannon Sharpe is leaving in June. So June is his last month of where he's going to be on Undisputed. My thing is also, I just wonder how Skip and Shannon are going to part ways in terms of, I wonder how that last episode is going to be like, because it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, are they going to genuinely like hug? Are they going to shake hands? It's just kind of weird. Yeah, I heard about Detroit hiring Monty Williams. I did hear about that. Whatchamacallit, Magic Man, he actually put it in the chat. The Pistons getting Monty Williams. So congrats to Detroit. I wonder how Monty Williams is going to do with a young team. You know, we'll see what happens, but congratulations on Detroit getting Monty Williams. So, but we'll talk about that, in the future for another time. But ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. As you guys come in, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, make sure to share the stream if you're new to the channel. Shannon Sharpe, to my surprise, is no longer going to be on Undisputed. This kind of came out of nowhere. And the crazy part is that just recently, Shannon had a heated exchange going back and forth with one Kwame Brown, or as Stephen A likes to say, Kwame Brown. Yes, he had an issue with him. And that all had to do with about game 4 of the Western Conference Finals when the Nuggets ended up sweeping the Lakers. And this all stemmed from LeBron's last play. But it goes even further than that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very surprised that this has happened because, quite honestly, Shannon and Skip's energy kind of really hasn't been the same. Shout out to Michelle's daughter in the building. I see you. What's going on? What's up? Appreciate you being on here. But the energy really hasn't been the same. This all really started back in January. With DeMar Hamlin getting a cardiac arrest during a Monday Night Football game between the Bills and the Bengals, and we know what happened when Shannon Sharpe went on TV and talked about felt that and Skip had put the tweet during that Monday night game, and Skip's tweet was about basically that because of scheduling, it was going to be hard to postpone that game. Shannon Sharpe felt like it wasn't really important to put a tweet like that, especially when somebody got into a cardiac arrest. And Shannon missed he missed Undisputed the very next day when it happened. So Skip was on his own and he was with Jen Hill that day. So then Shannon comes on the next day, and then Shannon explains his reasoning for not being on the show. And he was hoping that Skip was going to bring down the tweet. Skip says he apologizes for tweeting the tweet, but he's not going to bring it down. Shannon says that I can't even go through a monologue without you interrupting me and cutting me off. And Shannon was visibly upset that he just continue to talk, and then there was just an awkward pause, and Shannon really didn't feel like talking anymore. So then there's that. But this has been a really tumultuous year for Shannon Sharpe, because then, what people also forget was when Tom Brady got knocked off by the Dallas Cowboys, and Skip was trying to make excuses as to why Tom Brady lost, Shannon Sharpe went off on him again. And then when Shannon Sharpe was trying to explain as to what happened with Brady, all Skip kept going was like, so Skip was being unprofessional, making those damn sounds. And I'm like, why does Skip sound like he's getting hit from behind in bed? Like, is he getting piped? Is he getting his back blown? Like what's going on? Like, but anyway, when that happened, Shannon went off on Skip again. And Shannon didn't want to talk anymore because Skip was just really being disrespectful, not letting Shannon Sharpe getting off his points. And then there was another tension there too. So, and then it somehow got connected to LeBron and obviously with Tom Brady, because that's the topics that they always bring up. So there's a lot of things going on. So before I unpack that, what I want to do is I want to actually read off the article where I'm on daily.com.uk. Again, guys, make sure to smash the like, share the stream before you guys come in. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Shannon Sharpe is leaving Undisputed, and his last show is going to be in June after the NBA Finals are over, months after tension with co-host Skip Bayless over DeMar Hamlin. The funny thing is, it's funny how they only talk about DeMar Hamlin, but like I said, a lot of things transpired after that January incident with DeMar Hamlin. So, and it says that they've had some tense disagreements as of late. It's actually really never really been tense disagreements as of late. And if it's tense disagreements, it might be behind closed doors. But anyway, as I read the article, it says Shannon Sharpe is leaving Undisputed on Fox. Salute to everybody in the chat. Shout out. People forget about that Tom Brady moment. They only focus on DeMar Hamlin. But when that Tom Brady moment happened, when he got knocked off in the wildcard game, Shannon Sharpe got so visibly upset with Skip. They forget about it. Shout out to my man Rio. Appreciate you as always, my brother. Yes, Fox owns Club Shay Shay, and they're parting ways too. So Shay Shay is no longer going to be part of Fox Sports no more. That because they're parting ways, that show is being moved. It's being moved on, so you're not going to see it on Fox. I already have my hunch on where that show is going to go next. So just bear with me as I read the article. It says Shannon Sharpe is leaving Undisputed on Fox Sports 1 after 5 years. That doesn't make any sense because the show started in September of 2016. And right now we are in May of 2023, about to be in June of 2023. So it's been over 6 years. I don't know how people don't even, I don't know how people don't keep track of time and actually correct that. But anyway, the New York Post has claimed that Sharpe has agreed to deal with Fox over a buyout over his terms, and his last show is going to be June after the NBA Finals. So that is anywhere from Game 4 to Game 7. And if I look at the NBA schedule, I think it's supposed to be Game 1 is on Thursday, Game 2 is on Sunday, Game 3 might be Wednesday, or I think Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Game 4 is supposed to be, I think, a day after. And then Games 5 to 7 are pretty much 3 days apart after that, because the last game is going to be on June 18th, and that's going to be on a Sunday. Yeah, June 18th is actually on Father's Day. King G says a Stephen A. and Skip Bayless reunion. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so it says it comes months after and co-host Skip Bayless publicly shout out to people like disagreements going on the last couple of months, but the fact that this just popped out of nowhere, and it's so conveniently because Shannon had just gotten robbed, and this was funny because Shannon had just got robbed from the moment that him and Kwame got going. And I'm going to get into that in just a bit, but let me just continue reading the article. Shout out to Daniel Berry. Shout out to Earl Phillips. Shout out to King G in the building. Appreciate you guys coming in. So it says, would they disagree with how the NFL should handle the DeMar Hamlin's cardiac arrest back in January? And I said, look, I know the Bengals and the Bills, it was important for in terms of AFC supremacy, in terms of trying to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I also said that, look, a human being is more important. And I know Skip was like, even if you personally feel that way, Skip, and I get what you were saying, it was just the timing of your tweet was just not good. It was bad. It was bad because you knew you were going to get backlash for it. And I was saying that when I was trying to do the game, and I couldn't do it because it got canceled. They postponed it, and it was the right thing to do, honestly. Okay, it says the Post also reported on Wednesday night that Sharpe wanted parity with Skip Bayless in terms of influence of what topics are discussed on the show. But here's my problem with Shannon Sharpe. You mean to tell me that you waited over 5 years to finally want to have input on what topics that you possibly could talk about on the show? It's like you kind of just pretty much let it ride all these 5 years. Because trust me, the thing is, Skip. You know Skip. Everybody knows Skip. Skip pretty much had control on what. I will say this: Shannon and Skip had great chemistry, and in my opinion, Shannon Sharpe made that show. All of his quotes, all of his sayings, him being funny. Like I said, I think Shannon is a good dude. Don't get me wrong. But when I get to the LeBron part, that's where things are going to get really disturbing, as you see that little grandmama sweater he got wearing in the background. But I'll get to that. It says Bayless tweeted on the night of Hamlin's collapse in early January that the NFL couldn't postpone the Bills game with the Bengals due to scheduling, despite genuine fears about Hamlin's survivor after going into cardiac arrest on the field. Let me see. Continuing down here. It says, no doubt the NFL was considering postponing the rest of this game, but how in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant, Skip Bayless wrote. And then Shannon Sharpe stayed away from the following day's episode of Undisputed, and when he returned a day later, was visibly frustrated by Skip interrupting him while he tried to explain his stance. Skip apologized for the tweet, but he said did not delete it. And Shannon Sharpe goes on to say, and I quote, in Shannon's quote, Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip will take it down, Sharpe said, explaining his absence around the Hamlin incident before Skip Bayless interjected. And Skip Bayless, as Skip Bayless likes to go, time out. Bayless said Wednesday, I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted. Sharpe responded, I can't even get through a monologue without you interrupting me, as I already mentioned early on in the stream just a couple of minutes ago. Skip says, I was just going to say Skip. I didn't want yesterday to get into a situation where DeMar Hamlin was the issue. Shout out to Michael. He says Skip said nothing wrong about the Hamlin situation. The funny thing is, Skip even give prayers out to DeMar Hamlin, but people forget that part. They only focused on what Skip said about the scheduling, and it's true. You know how the NFL is, and you know how it comes when it comes to really good teams and when it comes to ratings. You know the NFL was in a bind, but they really had no choice. That's the reason Skip said what he said. Like I said, it was unfortunately it was bad timing. But Skip, I actually agreed with Skip. It's just that the timing of the tweet was just bad. That was the problem. And Skip, honestly, wrongfully, he got criticized pretty hard. And like I said, people are going to take different sides, so it's just a matter of opinion. But like I said, I feel like you can have an opinion on something like this about a tweet and not really just. Some people just get so emotionally invested that it's like they want to just try to annihilate you, man. So anyway, I was just going to say Skip. I didn't want yesterday to get into a situation where DeMar Hamlin was the issue, where he was the issue. We should be talking about him and not getting to your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting. So like I said, I felt that, Skip's got his moments, and sometimes I can't stand Skip. But at the same time, I just felt Skip was just wrongfully attacked because of the fact that he made the tweet. I just said that I didn't like the timing of the tweet just because but he honestly really didn't say nothing wrong. It's just that, again, a human being got into cardiac arrest, one of the better young players in the league, and it's like, he could have lost his life. That was the problem. But the thing is, Skip is right. He really honestly didn't say nothing wrong, because it's true. The NFL's in a bind, like in a game of this magnitude, because trust me, knowing the NFL, they wanted really to continue this game, but no one says they're going to get criticized by the public for letting that game happen. Trust me. He was going to get criticized by the public regardless. The NFL was going to get criticized if they continued that game. And listen, we got the Bills and we got Bengals fans, and some of them are going to be objectively fair, and some of them are already going to say, "Oh, that's not fair." It's really a no-win situation. Honestly, it's really not. It's a no-win situation. All right, continuing. So this is what Skip had posted in his quote. He said, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing it, and why would you postpone it with the magnitude?" Okay, the following month, Shannon Sharpe opened up on how he repaired his relationship with Skip Bayless. This is what Shannon Sharpe said: "We see things differently. That's why we work on the show. As the old saying goes, opposites attract." Sharpe said in February on Chris Mad Dog Russo's podcast, "I don't want disagreements to go outside of the lines, and I think it did. I think everybody thought that, right? More people know me from Undisputed than from the NFL. Most people don't realize I actually played and was a pretty good player." Well, I don't know if I would go with most, but I think most people that saw you play know how great of a player you are. And I know because I saw you with the Broncos, and you were a hell of a football player. You were you're one of the greatest players, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Now, where would I rank you all time in terms of tight ends? I'd have you fourth all time. I have you fourth all time because I feel that, Tony Gonzalez, to me, is a better tight end. Travis Kelce is a better tight end. But that's just they've been able to pass you up. But Shannon Sharpe was a beast in his heyday, over 10,000. Dude, Shannon was a wide receiver playing tight end. That's how good Shannon Sharpe was. Shannon Sharpe was that good. All right. So it says ETB says, "Who says he's leaving?" No, it's not who says he's leaving. The reports are already out. He's already. I got Shannon in my top 4, man. I got Shannon in my top 4, man. I mean, listen, unless if you got other tight ends that you feel like are better than Shannon Sharpe, well, I just named 2 of them. Off the top of my head. But there's reports everywhere, ETB. It's all over. New York Post, Fadeaway World, all of them have already reported that he's leaving. He's already agreed to a buyout with Fox Sports, so he's no longer going to be on the show. So starting in June, right after the finals is over, whenever that is, anywhere from Game 4 to Game 7, whenever that is, I think it's probably going to be the day after of whoever wins the series is going to be Shannon Sharpe's last day. It'll be his last show. But like I said, as a football player, I mean, you can't say nothing about Shannon Sharpe. I mean, this man knows the game in and out. Could tell you just about every single play in the book. I'm telling you, if I need analysis from Shannon Sharpe on football, I'm coming to that man any day of the week. Any day of the week. And those are facts. ETB says, how come he decided to leave? There's a lot of things going on, ETB. I already mentioned some of it. Some of it was the issues with Skip. Antonio Gates. Doesn't get enough recognition, does Antonio Gates, man. Underrated. He's underrated. Loved him on the Chargers, man. I tell you, those San Diego Chargers from 04 to 06, they were arguably the most talented football team in those 3 years. And the funny thing is, I was rooting for LT. No, not Lawrence Taylor. For those who think I'm talking about that LT, I'm talking about the running back, my man LaDainian Tomlinson, MVP LT. I'm talking about that LT, who was a beast of a running back. And they had Sean Merriman on defense. I mean, that Chargers team was a hell of a football team, and that 06 team should have gone to the Super Bowl. They were the most talented team in all of football. That team, those are facts. Okay. So it says the premise of the Undisputed is that 54-year-old Sharpe. Oh yeah, Gronkowski. Of course, can't count him, especially with all the Super Bowls. Such a mismatched nightmare, especially in big games. 3-time Super Bowl champion and Bayless debate the day's major sports talking points. Yeah, which is the Cowboys, Tom Brady, LeBron. Am I missing anything? Anyway, they also clashed on personal level back in December when when Skip Bayless compared Shannon Sharpe retiring at 35 to Tom Brady playing up to 45. Sharpe played as a tight end, winning 2 Super Bowls with Denver and the other one with the Baltimore Ravens on that historic defense. I did what I did, Sharpe responded. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame. I got 3 Super Bowls. Bayless did not back down. He said, so what? Oh, that's right. He said he's way better than you were. So here's the thing. Not only was there tension about comparing Shannon Sharpe to Tom Brady. Skip is so stupid because how you gonna compare a quarterback to a tight end? Now, if you was comparing Shannon Sharpe to his contemporaries, okay, but like Shannon Sharpe said, the man is not a bum. He won 3 Super Bowls and he's in the Hall of Fame. One of the greatest tight ends ever. And Skip, you've been watching football for how long? You know Shannon was he was the real deal. Come on now, Skip. Come on, Skip. Really, Skip. So their issue really stemmed from Sharpe playing at 35 compared to Brady at 45. It started there. Then you have the DeMar Hamlin situation, and then after that, when Tom Brady got knocked off in the wild card game, Shannon Sharpe was trying to talk about how Brady got exposed, and Skip just flat out interrupted him, and Shannon was so visibly upset. And then that's the problem, because now what was happening was that, see, this is the problem when you have two guys that start to get emotional and then act like fanboys instead of just being professionals, because they have the ability to be professionals, but that's what happens when you let emotional bias get in the way. You got to be a professional at the end of the day. They didn't do that. And so that's why they were starting to clash back and forth, because, I see the comments every single time on Undisputed, man, Skip and Shannon, man, they got great chemistry, man. Unbelievable. They're so fun to watch. Shannon with the quotes, and bro, Shannon was very entertaining. But, I got my gripes on Shannon Sharpe when he talks about basketball, and I'll get to that. Sharpe then said, so watch what he does. Shannon Sharpe throws his glasses on the table when Skip told him that Tom Brady was always better than you, right? Shout out to Country Call. He said, Skip, Skip, let me ask you a question. I always laugh when Shannon always does that. Let me ask you a question, But, okay, Sharpe then says, you're willing to take a personal shot at me to say he's better than me because I say he's playing bad this year? Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay Shay, is also believed to be following him out of Fox, which is, yeah. Skip Bayless, meanwhile, had not offered any comment on reports on his official Twitter account where he posts regularly. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to take a minute just because all this news is coming out, and I'm pretty sure it's either Skip was either blindsided or Skip knew about it and is just trying to wait till the storm weathers until he makes a response. That's the only way that I see it happening, right? So it says Undisputed is still scheduled to continue at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Okay? Now, yep, everybody knows Shannon Sharpe was no bum, man. This guy was a Hall of Famer. I listened to his Hall of Fame speech, and it was one of the best speeches I ever heard. And every time I looked at him when he looked at his brother Sterling Sharpe, I feel so bad for Sterling because, for those who saw his brother play when he was with the Packers, Sterling Sharpe had one of the best 5 or 6 year stretches in NFL history as a wide receiver. And had he not gotten injured, he would be right alongside his brother in the Hall of Fame. He would be there with him too. And the thing is, you could still kind of make the case that he should be in, even though he didn't play that long due to his injuries. So we'll talk about that. My bad. Sorry about that. Excuse me. So now we got to get to the nitty gritty. What's been happening since then? So we got Skip and Shannon with Tom Brady. We got Skip and Shannon with DeMar Hamlin. So then after those situations happened, Skip started to act nice. And you notice that Skip wasn't really going hard at LeBron like that. And the crazy part is that Shannon was upset on how Skip personally attacked him. Shannon Sharpe, he said what he said about Skip, and people were like, well, Skip needs to apologize this and Skip needs to apologize that. In one part, you could say, yeah, but here's the thing. Shannon Sharpe kept letting it happen. And then Shannon Sharpe came back on the show. And I asked myself, Shannon, you could have said something. You could have stepped up. You could have really taken a stand, but you didn't really say anything, no matter how many times Skip was saying these things about you. You are a fanboy of LeBron. Skip is a fanboy of Tom Brady. At times you could be a fanboy of Patrick Mahomes, as in Patrick Mahomes. And I love Patrick Mahomes. So, he's my favorite quarterback. But Shannon had the opportunity to leave, and he didn't do that. He just let Skip say whatever he want. And it's like, I feel like, to me, Skip knew his energy, which is why Shannon never did anything. And that's why Skip never really felt threatened by Shannon Sharpe. Why do you think Skip is afraid of players like T.O.? Because when T.O. can challenge Skip, Skip really can't say anything, especially when T.O. is actually right. When T.O. is actually right, he really can do. So remember, guys, we got 26 people watching, but we got 11 likes, man. Hit the like, hit that subscribe. Definitely appreciate y'all. Remember, we got to get the likes up, man. We got 26 people up in the building. I definitely appreciate the 26 people, but we got to get the likes up, man. Let's get those likes, smash those likes, share the stream. But getting back to what I was saying, and now we get to Kwame Brown, right? As you guys know, the Lakers, they made a midseason trade. They get Vanderbilt. They get D'Angelo Russell. They were able to trade Russ, and then they get Malik Beasley. Lakers go on a run. We already know about the whole referee situation and whatnot. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to skip that part. But the reason I'm continuing is I'm saying this. Now, once that happened, ladies and gentlemen, and the Lakers got into the playoffs, shout out to Willie Graham. He says, what's going on? Well, first of all, what's going on? Salute to you, sir, first of all. And second of all, if you want to know what's going on, Shannon Sharpe is leaving Undisputed. He has reached a buyout agreement with FS1, and he is no longer going to be on the show. And also, Club Shay Shay will no longer be with Fox Sports. That is the breaking news that just happened. So, like I said, Shannon Sharpe, he made that show. I love the guests that had came over there like all the time. You're talking about Magic Johnson, Eric Dickerson. Obviously you had Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg. I mean, Nelly's been on the show. We've had Gary Payton. We've had Jim Jackson. We got Rob Parker. Everybody, how most people feel about Rob Parker. I'm not going to get into that guy. But so now we're going to get to LeBron and the Lakers. And the reason being is because Shannon Sharpe did this. Shannon was, hyping up the Lakers and, thinking that they were going to make a run to the championship, right? They beat the Grizzlies, they beat the Warriors. Oh, wait. Before I get to that, now that I mentioned the Grizzlies, we have to talk about what happened during the season. And this is where Antonio Brown is going to come in. Let me get to that too. So, if y'all remember, there have been a lot of back and forth between Dillon Brooks and Shannon Sharpe. And I remember Shannon Sharpe had went into a couple of Laker games with LeBron. And then there was a situation that happened where, Dillon Brooks was going with a little back and forth with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon was wearing that grandmama sweater, as you see right there. And then Shannon was trying to get all the smoke with the Grizzlies. And he made some comments with John Morant. Dillon Brooks had made some comments about Shannon Sharpe, and they kind of went back and forth. And no, Lawrence, you're right. They haven't been there in a while. I'm just saying that I loved when I don't watch First Take. I don't watch First Take anymore. Only when somebody recommends me on something. But here's the thing. So yeah, they went back and forth between the Grizzlies and Shannon Sharpe, and they made it seem like some people were like, well, why is Shannon Sharpe barking and trying to take on the other team? The Memphis Grizzlies are a bunch of guys who do a lot of talking and haven't proven anything on the court. They haven't won anything, and just look at them. This is why they lost to Golden State last year and why they lost to the Lakers this year. Forget about the referees and all that kind of stuff. What I'm basically saying is that the Grizzlies just do a lot of talking. I know they were missing Brandon Clark. I know they were missing Steven Adams, but my point is they did a lot of chirping and it got them nowhere. And now Dillon Brooks isn't with the Grizzlies anymore. But anyway, Shannon was talking about that, and I think the Lakers won that game when Shannon Sharpe had that heated exchange with them, and then he got into it with John Morant's dad. And John Morant's dad should be ashamed of himself, because it's like, instead of trying to be able to talk to your son, because I got a kind of question about John Morant's parents, because it's like John Morant continues to kind of make mistakes, and now I know he's a grown man and he is responsible for his choices. But then I just think about the parents, and it's like sometimes you don't even hear really the parents on like what they think about it, and it's like, why aren't they really saying anything? So it's just weird. Yeah, Chi-Town King, I mentioned that this started back in December when it was about Brady. Skip was fanboying over Tom Brady and made it seem like if Shannon Sharpe was trash compared to him, right? So getting back on it, Shannon had the issue with the Grizzlies, and then then they kind of went back and forth when they got into the playoffs, and Dylan was talking about LeBron. And he's saying how he's old, he's old, and I don't deal with an old guy. He said, say when I got 40, and Shannon was kind of going back and forth like, oh, all he does is just talk, and this and that, and it's okay. And then, LeBron and the Lakers, pretty much put them in their place, and then it was like, Shannon felt good, and then you got the Warriors, and then they knock off the Warriors, right? Now we get to the Denver Nuggets, ladies and gentlemen, and the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, we talked about the Hamlin situation too. And then you got obviously Ja at the strip club, and on 2 different occasions, Ja Morant pulling up a gun in the strip club. And it's funny because the strip club, they took a long time until they finally called out Ja Morant for that whole little gun incident. And then I think it was with his cousin, he was in his car and they were listening to some trap music, and then Ja Morant once again pulls out the gun. So it's amazing how Nike took down his shoe, but they're still keeping him, and yet they get mad at Kyrie. I don't quite understand that, but anyway, because I felt what Ja Morant did was way more serious than what Kyrie did. But anyway, that's neither here or there. But getting back to what I was saying, the Nuggets end up sweeping the Lakers in 4 games, and so once that happens, check this out. Game 4, the Lakers are down 2, 113-111, and we talk about the last play. And LeBron James gets the inbound. He decides to drive left. He ended up going left, and a lot of people felt that he should have went to the middle of the floor because he would have had more options, right? So instead, he drove to the left. Jamal Murray made a great play. Some people thought it was a foul. Other people thought it was a great defensive play. Aaron Gordon was there on the help, and then when LeBron tried to recover the ball, Jokic was right there getting ready to contest a shot on the baseline, and the Nuggets end up winning the game and winning the series. And what happened with the Lakers in all 4 games was really the fourth quarter. Like, that's what really hurt, because if you really pay attention, even if you look at the whole referee situation, because everybody's going to be mixed on that, the Lakers were in those games. It's just fourth quarter wise, they just couldn't get it done when it counted, when it mattered. And they lost all 4 games. So after they get swept, Kwame Brown he's on YouTube. And once he's on YouTube, he starts talking about the last play. So what Kwame Brown says is he feels that LeBron does not have a go-to move down the stretch. Kwame Brown says that LeBron is a great player and he's one of the greatest of all time. What happened is a lot of LeBron diehard fans got really, really very sensitive and super upset when Kwame was basically saying he doesn't have a go-to move down the stretch. And people already were like, well, damn, Kwame's just doing this for clout. Look at Kwame trying to make a name for himself again after going at Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and Gilbert Arenas. And look at him now. He's trying to make a name off of LeBron, and LeBron didn't even say nothing to you. And I think people really are not really understanding what Kwame was saying. Kwame was only talking about the last play. This doesn't take away from LeBron's greatness. LeBron to be in your top 5 or 10. Some people think that LeBron is so full of it that he doesn't belong in the top 10. I'm not here to discuss that. That's neither here or there. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Kwame Brown decided to critique on his game. And what happened? What happened was Shannon Sharpe got upset. And Shannon Sharpe got so upset that he went on a rant on Undisputed. And I'm listening to Shannon Sharpe and I'm saying to myself, Shannon, why are you getting so upset? Kwame just said at the end of the game, LeBron does not really have a go-to move. And I'm just saying that I think if LeBron would have wanted that play over again, LeBron would have tried to attack the middle because he had Rui Hachimura because his man left him, and you had Anthony Davis to your right open for a jumper too. Or Kwame was saying LeBron, if he would have been able to, he could have created a shot where he could stop on a dime and shoot on a jump shot. That was his analysis, and that was his opinion. And people got offended, people got upset. Shannon Sharpe went absolutely off on Kwame, and he's just nothing but a tall farmer. He's the tallest farmer, He's nothing but a tall farmer, 7-foot tall farmer. And I'm saying to myself, okay, you could say he's a tall farmer, but historically, farmers, have been able to make good business, and with their sharecropping, they definitely helped grow America. So I really don't see. A farmer can't be that bad. And he also said he's on the Mount Rushmore of bust. And then I'm listening to Shannon Sharpe, and I'm saying to myself, hold on, what is the definition of a bust? Because if you look at Kwame's career, did he live up to expectations as a number one pick? The answer is absolutely not. He was a journeyman. He showed a lot of potential when he was with the Wizards, and you guys need to watch the games. But what people fail to understand is Kwame was just talking about the last play. Shannon took it personal and decided to go how he's a bust this, he's a bust that, you didn't do anything. And it's like, you're not understanding Kwame's point. He was just talking about basketball, and people are taking it personal. And he only talked about the last play. He didn't talk about the game. LeBron had a great game. 31 points at the half. Lakers were up 15. LeBron had 40 points. LeBron had 40 points for the game. The only thing I talk about was LeBron's second half. He only had 9 points. LeBron used all that energy. He only did not play for 4 seconds of that entire game. Yeah, we could talk about how Anthony Davis didn't show. We could talk about D'Angelo Russell. We talked about Vanderbilt. Those guys weren't playable at that point. We could go into all that. But the only thing he was talking about was the last play of the game. And LeBron fans took it like if he was critiquing him on his entire game or his entire career. And it's like they're not really listening to what he was saying. Shannon got emotional. He got personal. He's like, him and Anthony Bennett could have an MMA fight on who's the biggest bust of all time. And I'm like, Shannon, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're getting emotional for no reason. And I said, that was not a good look on your part and it's crazy because once Kwame did that, it was kind of like Shannon Sharpe set himself up for the bait. Because once Shannon did that, and Skip agreed, Skip kind of pretty much agreed with him, and they kind of all that. And I'm just saying to myself, I don't understand Shannon Sharpe. I said, this type of energy is part of the reason that dudes don't be liking LeBron for that reason. You got to listen to what Kwame was saying. Kwame was not talking to him as an individual all-time great player. He was talking about the last play of the game in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. That's it. That's all he was talking about. And then you find a way to manipulate, twist the narrative, and then you go attack personally at Kwame Brown talking about he's a bust. Let me tell you what a bust is, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Bennett is a bust. How many games did he play in the NBA before he was out of the league? Now compare that to how many years Kwame Brown played in the NBA, and you tell me the definition of a bust. Because when you are a bust, you don't last long in the NBA. You're out of the league very quickly, and you possibly might never come back. Take a look at Greg Oden. Greg Oden, talented defensive player, was starting to come around as an offensive player. Little by little, what happened? Injuries were too much. He had to retire early. The Miami Heat brought him back after he got himself into shape, but then he was just on the bench for the Heat, and then after that, he was let go. That's a bust. Johnny Flynn, that's another bust. Thank you. Take a look at Sam Bowie. Number 1 pick. No, actually, no, he was the number 2 pick in the 84 draft. Number 2 pick in the 84 draft. Full of injuries. Never lived up to his potential. Had a lot of talent, this Sam Bowie. But he was getting injured even when he was in Kentucky. There was a play, I forgot against what collegiate team he was going up against in college, but I remember he dunked the ball on the fast break and he tore his ACL. Like on the dunk, when he landed, he was already grabbing onto his knee. And the scouting report on him was that he was very good, very talented, but he was very injury prone. Oh, Jimmer Fredette, that's another one, another guy. Adam Morrison. How long did he last in the NBA? But Shannon Sharpe coming out here talking about Kwame Brown is a bust. Kwame Brown played 13 years in the NBA. He didn't live up to number one expectations. And I've seen other YouTube channels who don't like Kwame Brown because they love LeBron so much. And they're like, oh, Shannon's speaking facts about Kwame. No, he's not. Because if he actually did his homework, a bust is someone who does not last long in any professional sport. They are quickly out of their professional sport because they don't live up to their expectations. And Kwame didn't live up to his expectations, but how many teams did Kwame play for? He played for Golden State. He played for Philadelphia. He played for the Bobcats. He played for the Lakers. He played for the Pistons. I'm like, Kwame played for quite a few teams for a bust, made nearly $70 million in his NBA career. And he's a successful businessman off of the game. So quite honestly, Kwame to me is a success in life. He may not be a successful NBA player in terms of all-time great Hall of Famer, but Kwame Brown made something out of himself, man. And he came straight out of high school. He came straight out of high school. See, the thing that Kwame had the talent, and people need to watch his days in Washington. Kwame was a freaking gazelle. Kwame could run the floor. Kwame had a nice mid-range game. He had a solid post game. People need to watch the games. Kwame had all the talent to do great. The problem is injuries and his confidence were shot. Kwame needed a veteran big man. And if he had that veteran big man to really coach him, to really be able to be around him, to give him the confidence he needed to dominate and be great, Kwame would have been a great NBA player. He would have been a great NBA big man because Kwame had all the tools to be a great big man. You need to watch his early days in Washington, and I saw the games. Kwame had the talent. He had a nice soft touch with his jump shot. People need to watch. Did he live up to his potential? No, he didn't, but he definitely had the skills to be great. Injuries and confidence is what caused his career to go downhill, unfortunately. LeBron says, if you play for the Bobcats, then you're a bust. Again, what's the definition of a bust? Yeah, he played for them, but it was like that wasn't the only team he played for. He was on other teams. I think Kwame was on the Sixers too. I believe it. I believe. But yeah, Kwame is a successful businessman, man, and he's living life. And it's like the thing is, people really can't say nothing and really control him at any point. Kwame's doing him. And what did Shannon Sharpe do? Decided to get personal with him. Oh, Brandon Roy, one of the NBA's greatest what ifs. You know why Brandon Roy was special? Brandon Roy was special. Brandon Roy was one of the best fourth quarter performers in the NBA, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. What happened with him was his knee. His knee ended his career. That's the problem. And what did Shannon do? He attacked Kwame as a man. He attacked his character. And what did Kwame do? You knew Kwame was going to respond. And the funny thing is, it's amazing that apparently when Kwame responded, Shannon Sharpe got his home stolen in LA. Yeah, he had what is it, over $1 million of items robbed. And what's been the saying now? Shannon Sharpe got called out for being a LeBron fanboy. I'm saying to Shannon Sharpe, you didn't think he was going to get called out? What'd you expect? I said Kwame's not going to keep quiet. By any means, he's not going to keep quiet. And now, after all of this so we've come full circle, ladies and gentlemen, because now Shannon Sharpe has gone from being compared to Tom Brady, Skip getting in his feelings about saying that Brady's better than Shannon Sharpe when it makes no sense because Brady's a quarterback and Shannon Sharpe is a tight end, to DeMar Hamlin, to to Skip moaning and groaning when Shannon Sharpe called out Tom Brady's play in the wildcard game, to John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies in their 2-year battle of back and forth with him and Dylan Brooks and some of the team members, to then LeBron getting swept and getting criticized about the last play with Kwame Brown. That was the straw that stirred the drink. Do y'all remember when Charles Barkley, for example, when he criticized LeBron and said that when LeBron had talked about how his players were too top heavy on his roster and that they needed a playmaker, like if they didn't have Kyrie Irving on the team, at least try to see if you could give him ball handling duties. But this was at that time, not right now. I'm talking about back in 2017. What did Charles Barkley say? You want all the great players? You don't want to compete? Charles Barkley kept the basketball. LeBron said, I'm not going to let a man destroy my legacy because you threw a guy through a window. You got in trouble and got arrested for gambling at the casino or spit at somebody at the crowd. For those who know about the spitting incident that Charles did, he got into it with a Sixers fan, I think. This was back in 1990 or 1991. He was spitting. He spit into the crowd, and it was a big mistake on Charles's part. And the spit, and I think he was talking with one of the white fans over there, and the spit ended up going on into a little girl's face. And the guy got so heated that he was berating Charles like all over, cursing him out. And once that happened, Charles got suspended by the league. I think he got fined by the league. Charles owned up to his mistake and he apologized. And that's the one thing that I give Charles a lot of credit for. Say what you want about Charles and whatever you think about him, but at least with him, he's always been honest and he doesn't hide from the fact of the mistakes that he made in his NBA career. He doesn't hide from it. He doesn't hide from it at all. So now, and it's like, if you want to go bust, I mean, and then to think about it too, is Matt Barnes a bust? Is Steven Jackson a bust? Like, what? That's what I'm trying to say. What is a bust? Do people really understand what a bust is? And it's like, I just feel like people don't really know. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Guys, continue to hit the like. He probably got 10 to his personal stylist. Yeah. And then and here's the thing, man. Oh, wow. Shout out to Jean Mary Laurent, who just subscribed to the channel. Definitely appreciate that. I wonder, how did I get that notification? That's kind of weird. That's crazy. But anyway, that's weird. But shout out to you for subscribing to the channel. But anyway, like I was saying, this is why I just feel like everything that's happened from December to now is why Shannon Sharpe is pretty much leaving. There's a lot of speculation right now that they're thinking that Shannon Sharpe, because we know that people are saying, and this is alleged, most people think it anyway, for those that really understand what's going on, that Shannon Sharpe is affiliated with Clutch Sports, with LeBron James. Now, I forgot to mention this, but I got to mention it. Let me get to Antonio Brown. But before I get to that, Lawrence says, plus there's a video last year on Club Station when Shannon told Allen that Kwame was not a bust. What made him change his mind now? Oh, thank you for mentioning that too. He was talking to Al Harrington and he was talking to Allen Iverson. They were both on and they were both talking about how they love Kwame. Al Harrington was, Shannon was like, I don't think you could be a bust being in the league for 13 years. Shannon went off because he spoke about LeBron. That's what happened. It was because it was LeBron being criticized. Shannon said that LeBron was in a no-win situation. I agree with him on that. I agree with him. LeBron already had made up his mind and he decided to do what he was going to do, and that was attack the basket. It is what it is. But what I'm basically saying is that there was no need for you to go personal, though, because Kwame was just talking about he just doesn't have a go-to move at the end of the game to be able to put his team in a position to win. That's what he said. Whether you agree with him or not, that's his opinion. But the fact that you went all fanboy crying and emotional, like her son just got disrespected and she was about to go in and was about to whoop everybody in the shit, whatever place you was about to go, and you was about to turn up. Like, Shannon, you a 54-year-old man acting all this erotic, man, another grown man. That's the example that you're setting. Like, and the thing is, bro, What did you say to Skip? That I'm a bum? I'm a effing Hall of Famer. And that's what I keep thinking about. When you get all emotional, you fanboy, but it's like you want to come and then you say you're a Hall of Famer. Dudes ain't going to respect you like that if you're going to be going like that. Come on, Shannon, come on, bro. Now let me get to Antonio Brown. Because I remember when LeBron, during the game against the Grizzlies, and that situation happened, what did LeBron say? I'm going to always ride or die with Shannon Sharpe. And I stopped and I said this. I said, real interesting. I said, real interesting, LeBron. That's real interesting. You know why? Here's why. What I find interesting about that is when you were doing your show, The Shop, a couple of years ago, you had Antonio Brown on your show. This was when Antonio Brown was having his little CTE episode. Antonio Brown had been criticized by Shannon Sharpe for years. And I remember Antonio Brown showed up on Undisputed, and I remember Shannon Sharpe had called him out about something that it had to do with the Steelers. I think it was the time when Coach Tomlin was trying to talk to the team, and I think Antonio Brown recorded the speech when he was talking to the guys in the locker room, and it was on Facebook. Well, that didn't sit well with the organization, and I think Antonio Brown got in trouble for that. And Antonio Brown, he mentioned about his mistakes, right? And watch this. So he's on The Shop, and what did he say, ladies and gentlemen? Did you know what he said? This is what he said. He called Shannon Sharpe a coon. That's what he called him. He called him a coon, and he said he was a joke. He called him a joke. This is on LeBron's show, mind you. And y'all need to watch that episode if y'all haven't seen it. You need to see the look on LeBron's face when he said that. It's like LeBron wanted to say something, but he couldn't say anything because if he did, it would have caused a problem. What happened? Antonio Brown was never invited to another show again. Brown didn't defend Shannon Sharpe. He said, bro, Shannon, he's like, man, Shannon Sharpe a coon, man. That dude Shannon Sharpe a joke. He's like, this is what we doing right now? LeBron looked so uncomfortable when Antonio Brown said that on the show. LeBron had nothing to say. And you know what's funny? The media never questioned LeBron about it. They didn't ask him what was your thoughts about what he said or anything. They didn't question it. They didn't question about it. And I said, damn, Shannon's been riding for you this whole time. And then you come and you say, I'm going to ride down with Shannon. But when Antonio Brown called him out, you didn't say a damn word. You didn't say a damn word. And it was like, even if you wasn't going to say a damn word on the episode while you were recording, you should have pulled Antonio Brown to the side and said something. And I bet you LeBron didn't say anything. I bet he just told his guys, he told Maverick and Rich, he's like, you know what? He ain't gonna ever be on the show again. That's it. And I'm like, bro, he called you a clown. A clown. He called Shannon Sharpe a clown, and he did absolutely nothing. LeBron did absolutely nothing, but LeBron gonna sit there and say, I'm gonna ride or die with Shannon Sharpe. It made no sense. It made no sense. Shout out to Duality. So yeah, Shannon's riding with the king. So my thing is, I'm wondering, is Shannon gonna ride with him? I'm wondering if Club Shay Shay might be on, if it might be on with Clutch Sports, if it might be on HBO, like who knows? Like that probably could be my guest next. So now let me ask you guys now that Shannon Sharpe is leaving, I'm wondering how these episodes are gonna be now with Undisputed. I feel like the energy's already been kind of gone. Skip is kind of mellowed down. I honestly felt like after a couple of those incidents, Shannon already had his sights on leaving. And it's funny because now Steven Jackson has got beef with Braun too. And it's funny because there's been videos of both, not only Kwame, but Steven Jackson. They're warning Shannon Sharpe, and they're telling him, Braun ain't going to defend you. And I keep telling people that Braun is cool with you until he got no use for you. And it's like people don't want to understand. You would think that people who are such fans of LeBron would think that they really understand him, and it's like they don't. Whatever LeBron says, they just let him ride. They just let it ride. Shout out to the boss. He says Kwame Brown done roasted this man so bad that they fired Shannon. It's funny because I've been seeing Kwame, and Kwame said he had nothing to do with that. I don't know. It's weird because there was just the timing is so weird because there was no mention of Shannon. There were, little rumors itty bitty here and there that he might go. But the funny thing is, the minute that he went off on Kwame and Kwame responded back, notice that when Kwame responded back, Shannon didn't say anything. Shannon didn't respond back. Undisputed didn't even make it a topic. Duality says, Louis and I have never met each other, and we don't allow people to talk crazy about the other. Because it's about respect at the end of the day. And it's like I said, people, I don't know, people take these things as religion. Like, why are you getting, it becomes kind of like a religious cult. Why are you getting religious about another man that you've never met in your life? When I talk about LeBron, it's just about basketball. I've had people come at me, you don't know what you're talking about. LeBron is a billionaire. He makes more money than you'll ever make in your life. I've seen people say, LeBron is my king. You need to bow down to your king. That's a lot of cringe talk. When LeBron should be the father of my children. When I hear things like that, I'm like, that's a problem. That's a you problem. If you're telling a celebrity that they could be the father of your children or the mother of your children, that's a problem. That means that you're not doing your job as a parent if you're saying things like that. We can respect the craft that these celebrities and these athletes, what they do in order to entertain us. But what we don't do is that we all of a sudden start, kissing their behinds and like worshiping them like we worship the ground that they walk on. Because they're the same people that will treat you like crap if you ever meet them in person. They're the same people that can meet you. You don't even know if they're having a bad day. See, they can have a good day and you'll be like, oh my God, when I met them, they're so nice. And look at them. Oh my God, yes, slay. Oh my God, couple goals and all this kind of stuff. But you don't know what they're like. The only people that know what these guys are like are the people that are closest to them. So people who are like, oh man, LeBron is such a chill dude. You don't know what LeBron is like, man, behind closed doors. The only ones that know are his children, his wife, his mom, the rest of his family, and his closest friends. That's it. And also the teammates in the locker room, at least when he's with them on the court. But the ones that know him personally, you're talking about Melo and D Wade and Carmelo and Russ and CP3. They know him personally. It's different. Michael says LeBron fans are pathetic. Well, Duality says, I'm thinking Stephen A may come and reunite with Skip on Undisputed. Skip is the showrunner for Undisputed. I've been hearing reports to that too. It's a possibility that he might be leaving. It'd be crazy if them dudes switch roles and next thing you know, Shannon is on ESPN and and Stephen A is on Fox. We already know the type of energy that Skip and Stephen A have. He's replacing one S and returning with another. That'd be one heck of a reunion. Because if people don't understand, Stephen A makes $8 to $12 million a year with ESPN. Stephen A make the big bucks, but that's because he's entertaining as heck. That's why he's entertaining as F. Douchin says so. Shout out to Douchin. He says so. Sharpe gets robbed and then he retires. It's weird. I just feel like the timing of this is just pretty crazy that all of this is happening. If Stephen A isn't going to replace Shay as a co-host, it may be Lil Wayne. Bizarre move, bro. Listen, Lil Wayne, that would be weird. That would be really weird. If Lil Wayne was to take over and be with Skip, that would just be very weird. I don't know why that would happen. Listen, the intro track, fire, straight fire. Love the intro track. But him to replace Shannon? Nah. Bro, Skip is in unbelievable shape at damn near 80 years old. But at some point, he got to give it up too. You see what I'm getting at? When I get robbed, I just get a newish job. Well, got it. I'm hearing Stephen A is upset on some of his peers at ESPN and bosses based on his podcast content. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got a little small joint on the side. I don't really watch it, though. Don't really watch it at all, but it is what it is. But, yeah, and it's crazy because now Shannon Sharpe has been called they compared him to Barney the dinosaur. And it's crazy because if you ever seen Shannon Sharpe smile, he does remind you of Barney when you look at his face. Not trying to do it to be disrespectful, but it's like it's already a meme. So you can't tell me nothing because it's already on the internet. There's a picture of Barney and there's a picture of Shannon Sharpe. And the funny thing is, but a black man actually played Barney. For those who don't know, and he's a psychologist, by the way. For those who don't know, if you ever seen the show Barney, because I watched it growing up. It's played by a black man, and that black man who played Barney is a psychologist. But they compared when Shannon Sharpe always does his little smile with his teeth, he had the exact same face as Barney. So people were thinking that at one point he played Barney, which wasn't true. But shout out to Chris Wedge, guys. Hit the like, man. Make sure to share. He says the show has become so boring. It's super woke and very repetitive. Always only talk about the same LeBron, Cowboys, Brady, Westbrook. Listen, let me say this. If you guys are looking for real analysis of your sport, if you're talking football, you need to go watch. ESPN is going to do really more so a better job in it, and it's crazy I'm saying that, but they'll actually do a better job of covering football than Undisputed because it's really the same topics. But, go to listen, if you have the NFL Network, go to the NFL Network, man. They talk football nonstop. I'd rather watch the NFL Network. I watch NFL Throwback on YouTube. I watch NFL Films. I listen to NFL podcasts. I listen to the Kelsey brothers on their podcast. I would rather listen to that than listen to Skip and Shannon talk the damn Dallas Cowboys every single time, because the NFL channels is the real sport. They're talking about the NFL. They're talking teams in the NFL. You're not going to get that on freaking Undisputed. The topic would have to be so big that they're going to find a reason to plug it in. But I would rather watch NFL stuff. Also for the NBA. Well, Michael's a Cowboys fan. Hey, there it is, man. Hey, Skip is on your side for a reason. Listen, as delusional as Michael Irvin be sounding, I love when that guy speaks, because when he preaching, he's just making me laugh. Whether he's lying, whether he's just trying to be funny, or whether he's telling the truth, I enjoy when Michael Irvin speaks. And I love when him and Stephen A go back and forth. It's just funny comedy to me. Especially when Stephen A be trolling the Cowboys. It's just fun. Also, man, if you're looking for NBA analysis, because I've seen baseball fans get upset. Why don't Skip and Shannon talk more baseball? Because they actually know something about baseball. I was like, they're casuals when it comes to the sport. They're casual. They know the sport, don't get me wrong, but it's like they're casuals when it comes to the sport. It goes a lot deeper than that. They've never really had baseball guests on their show. It's been NFL and NBA guests and other celebrities. So, quite honestly, to be really frank, if you want content, if you watch the or find a way to, when it comes to the NHL, it's the same thing, man. You watch NHL on Ice, or watch one of the NHL channels, man, if you can afford that to watch. And then obviously when we talk about the NBA, it's like, you have NBA League Pass. You have NBA TV. You want analysis? They're going to talk about the actual NBA teams, big and small market, on NBA TV. So if you want the actual analysis, especially from former NBA players that have actually played the game, you go to NBA TV. You don't go to Skip and Shannon. They're just entertainment. Why is it that people don't understand that? They're just entertainment. That's it. Here comes Alistair with another hot take. First Take is way better than Undisputed. At one time, it was not. Well, listen, I know that Skip and Shannon know the sport. I'm just speaking of casuals who think that they don't know the game of baseball, but I know Skip knows baseball. I know Skip knows baseball. I know he does. Shannon Sharpe knows it too. I love the time when they were talking about Barry Bonds and how deep they got into it. I was just like, bro, Shannon and Skip, bro, they really know their baseball. And I was like, and I saw some baseball fans. They're like, man, if only Skip and Shannon could talk more baseball. So, shout out to Tupu Mo. He says, I'm not going to be watching this after Shannon leaves. It's going to be hard because it's like, who are they going to replace? I mean, they're saying Stephen A, but I've seen Stephen A and Skip already. So it's like, am I really going to watch it again just because they reunite? It's like, is it really going to be the same again? Not kind of really. Karam says, during baseball season, I'm seeing people starting to respect the Rangers of how good they are. The Rangers are a good team. The Rangers are a good team. They have the best run differential in all of baseball. The Rangers have the best run differential in all of baseball. So they're doing something right. The Rangers are a good team. Now, we got to see how this translates into the playoffs, but the Rangers so far have been pretty good. The Rangers should just have to continue playing good baseball, and what they got to do is they just got to earn the respect. That's all. As long as they do that, the Rangers will be fine. They'll be fine. Stephen A and Shannon Sharpe. Well, I heard that they got beef. I don't know how their beef is now because they've kind of taken some passive aggressive shots at each other over the years through social media. So I don't know how they listen. Stephen A and Shannon Sharpe would be good. I really would like that though. I think Skip. I think Skip and Stephen A. People are going to pay attention to their reunion. We know the thing is, come on, I've seen them on First Take. I mean, they were good together. Skip and Shannon have great not Skip and Shannon. Skip and Stephen A have great chemistry. So not only do Skip and Shannon have great chemistry, but Skip and Stephen A, they have great chemistry too. There's a deep level of love and respect. They go those two go back for years. They go back for years. Maybe they don't. Pete, maybe they don't. Karam says JJ Redick being on First Take is something good. Well, I've actually liked JJ Redick as of late in terms of some of the talking points that he's debunked. The only thing I didn't like was when he disrespected Bob Cousy and Jerry West and trying to disrespect the 50s and 60s, where people have to understand that was a different time. Like, people are not always going to agree, but at the end of the day, those guys were great players, man. They helped make the league what it is today. You don't disrespect the old school. Those guys paved the way for what the NBA is. The NBA evolves, man, but there's been great players in every era. Bob Cousy doesn't have the sexiest numbers, and I saw them. They were pretty ugly, but again, that was a different time period, man. Shout out to No. Appreciate you coming through. When Rob Parker was on Undisputed as the 3 host was when I lived it the most. Rob ruffled feathers. I mean, he ruffled Shannon's feathers a lot. For example, I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. And the reason that he should be in the Hall of Fame is because baseball is full of crap, because they allowed the cheating from so many players, but because Barry Bonds was not media friendly and he ruffled some feathers in when it comes to some of the baseball writers that vote for the Hall of Fame, he's not in there. But let's face it, Barry was a Hall of Famer before the roids. It's just that the roids really amplified his stats. But Barry was a talented player, though. All the roids did was just make Barry bigger. That's all that it really did. But Barry was a 5-tool athlete. I think JJ to me is a little bit more fair when he's on his podcast, but when he's on the 4-Letter Network, he just goes with the BS that the writers pretty much tell him to really spew out in terms of the script. That's it. Yeah, I just feel like JJ went with the go along get along game. I mean, look, Gilbert Arenas has chilled down a bit, and I'm like, is he not on the payroll that he's now talking about how Jordan is the GOAT, and because he lately has been making some points now. Lately, I don't know what got into him. Wow, Barry Bonds was the Kobe Bryant. It was like he was the Kobe Bryant with more MVPs. The crazy part is, man, the only thing that hurt Barry, I'm going to be honest with you, his regular season stats are incredible. But in the playoffs, he doesn't hit well in the postseason. And his best postseason was later in his career in 2002. That was his best postseason ever. But he's had bad postseason in his career. And it's unfortunate because I wish Barry would have won. And Barry's one chance to win the World Series was in that 2002 World Series against the Angels. The Giants had a 3-2 lead, and I thought the Giants were the better team, to be honest with you, but they just couldn't get it done. They blew those 2 games in Anaheim. I saw the World Series, and I'm thinking to myself, Barry was going to finally have his crowning moment like Alex Rodriguez had in 2009, because Barry was supposed to have it, but he didn't get to have it. And then after that, it was pretty much over. He was just racking up, trying to pass Hank Aaron on the all-time home run list. And a lot of people feel that he's not the home run king. They still feel like Hank Aaron is because, he's a cheater. But I'm just like, Sammy Sosa used roids. Look how the Cubs treat him. You look at Mark McGwire. He did apologize, but let's face it, Mark McGwire's standout seasons are only when he hit home runs and drove in RBIs. But Sammy Sosa actually had nearly had 2 different 200-hit seasons, despite the fact that he strikes out a lot, which shows you that Sammy was actually a pretty good hitter, not just a home run hitter. He was a better hitter than McGwire, in my opinion. To me, Sammy Sosa was overall a better hitter than Mark McGwire. Yeah, Aaron Judge is he's another one. Chris West says that the Pat McAfee show and its format is probably going to be the next new thing for these kind of people that have attacked Pat McAfee when he left his own show and his podcast to go join ESPN. He's been getting trashed and killed for that. The ratings for the 4-letter network have been going down ever since they decided to inject themselves into politics. Because they started doing that, ratings have been, and they know it too. They know it. They know it. That would be a crazy reunion, though, with Shannon Sharpe and I'm sorry, not Shannon Sharpe, with Stephen A. and Skip. I think it'll be white hot for a moment. I wouldn't go past it if those guys ended up like trading themselves and like just switch shows. That would be crazy. Wow. And I also even heard, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. I was heard that Shannon Sharpe was secretly advised to not respond to Kwame Brown. Here's the thing. If Shannon Sharpe were to respond to Kwame, you don't think Kwame's going to come with another comeback? See, the thing is, people don't understand. Kwame could go back and forth all day. It would have to take something that would be said so hard to Kwame Brown that he would not be able to respond. But quite honestly, he can go back. Kwame can go back and forth. He can. And I think if Shannon Sharpe would have continued, Kwame would have been able to say a lot more things. And trust me, you would start hearing some other people start to chime in because, look, Steven Jackson already warned Shannon Sharpe. He already warned him. I mean, take a look at Nick Wright. We should be talking about the Denver Nuggets. But are we talking about the Denver Nuggets? Alistair says Kwame is in his feelings. Here's my problem. How is Kwame in his feelings? Explain yourself and he's in his feelings. Kwame is not in his feelings. And that's the problem. You didn't listen to what he said. Did you listen to what he said? Or are you just going to go off and just defend LeBron? This had nothing to do about LeBron's greatness as a player. He only talked about one possession, and it was the last play. One. So how was Kwame in his feelings? Shannon Sharpe called him a bust. And I said, you can't play 13 years in the NBA, make the money you make, and be considered a bust. That was pretty successful. There's other players in the NBA that didn't even get to do what Kwame Brown did. And they had high expectations too. And they didn't even last long in the NBA. So I think, like I said, Kwame was able to make money. Now, he was not a great player. He had the talent to be great, but he didn't live up to the player. Like, you can't be that ignorant. Like, you need to listen to what he said. Exactly, Magic Man. Anthony Bennett, that is the definition of a bust. Karam says, I don't like Bill Simmons at all. I don't like him neither because all he does is offer narratives. He's a Celtics fanboy, so I'll never take him seriously, man. And what Kwame did was he reacted to a personal attack. What did Shannon Sharpe call him? He said he called him nothing but a tall farmer. He said him and Anthony Bennett need to fight in an MMA ring as to see who is the biggest bust of all time. Kwame Brown played 13 years. Anthony Bennett didn't even play a year. That's not even comparable. So how are you comparing Kwame Brown to Anthony Bennett? That doesn't make any sense. Anthony Bennett's the true definition of a bust because he was a #1 pick by Cleveland, and that draft class that he was in was pretty weak, and Anthony Bennett didn't do anything. He was gone. You should see how Anthony Bennett plays and then tell me who's the bust. Like I said, you need to watch Kwame in his early years in Washington. Watch his early years. He can ball. Kwame can actually ball. The question that I have is, why did Stephen A constantly go to colleges talking bad about Kwame? Just like how Skip makes a name off of LeBron James, Stephen A was making the name of disrespecting Kwame. Why did he go to colleges and talk about Kwame Brown? Why didn't he just keep it within ESPN? Duality, speaking facts, Pete. Kwame's mentioned that so many times about the one and done rule with the whole bus thing. That's why they implemented the one and done rule. It was all for him. That was the document. Correct. Those are facts. So when you listen to Uncle Shay Shay, of course, Kwame, I agree with you on that, Alistair. This was entertainment. In one part, it was entertainment. In one part. But Shannon Sharpe fell for the bait. Because all of a sudden, yeah, I saw the video of Stephen A when he said Kwame had weak hands. I saw it. I did see that. But that's my thing, though. Stephen A didn't pay attention to his days in Washington. Like I said, Kwame could ball. Kwame was damn good. He just didn't live up to his potential. But Kwame could play. There's a YouTuber that guys continue to hit the likes. There's a YouTuber by the name it has a Kwame Brown channel. They actually put up some of Kwame's like best games that he actually played. Like I said, man, Kwame could run the floor. That dude was a gazelle in the beginning of his career before things went downhill and he just became a role player journeyman. But in his early years in Washington, like from 2002 to 2004, Kwame actually was playing pretty damn good basketball. He really was. I saw it. That's when Kwame attacked Stephen A. He attacked him, and he decided to respond. And he was just showing up all those videos. Look at them, no hands, and He thought he finished him, but the funny thing is, when Stephen A came out with that video didn't get a lot of views. It didn't get a lot of views. When Kwame attacked Stephen A, I'm pretty sure that his viewership was probably maybe triple the amount of the views that Stephen A got when he tried to get back at Kwame Brown. That's what they try to do. G Money says, I don't listen to Shannon Sharpe when it comes to the NBA. You can't listen. Shannon can make good points here and there until it gets to his boy. Once it gets to his boy, all bets are off. He tries to lie. He tries to spin the narrative. Can't listen to him and take him seriously. He just becomes a fanboy, putting all this GOAT mask. Oh, yeah. Oh, GOAT. Yeah, Skip. Oh, GOAT James. Look now. LeBron James had hired the crew for The Last Dance, thinking that LeBron was going to win a championship in a Jordan year. And what happened? He got swept, and he canceled the documentary. And I'm saying to myself, LeBron James is trying to outdo Michael Jordan so damn bad, and he's failing at it. And just 2 years ago in 2021, for the 2021-2022 season, LeBron said he's chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. He said he's chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. So basically, you're still chasing. But LeBron knows that he can't catch Michael. And I said he just needs to focus on his career. Your career's coming to an end. And it's like, you've had a great career. You're the all-time scoring leader. You use Kareem as a pedestal to call yourself the greatest of all time, and your media pundits who you pay to spew this nonsense say that. If you just look at Kareem's face when LeBron passed that record. Kareem showed him respect, but deep down, Kareem doesn't like him because he knows that him and LeBron are beefing. He knows it. He knows it. It was almost as if Kareem had to say nice things about him, or LeBron's fans were going to attack him. His story of how he became a LeBron fan makes no sense. It doesn't. Funny thing is, he used to be a Kobe fan. He said he was Team Kobe, and at one time, Shannon Sharpe had Kobe high up in his top 10. I think he had Kobe in his top 5 or top 3, I think, at one point. And then ever since he came, and then LeBron beats Golden State with Kyrie and Kevin Love and company from the 3-1 deficit, it's like everything changed. And all you hear is, oh, man, he can't have an opinion. Maybe he had a change of opinion. And it's just like, listen to the way that Sharpe would talk. There's times where he tells the truth, but then there's just times where it's just like he's just gawking. It's just like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Kwame was a bust player, but he's still a success story. Steven said he would have done things differently at the colleges, but he still didn't give him full apology. You know, Stephen A ain't gonna apologize. You know, he ain't gonna do that. That's my problem. That's my problem with Chi-Town. You make a great. You're nailing it on the head. My issue with Shannon is all about insecurity. All this defending for a damn paycheck. I'm like, so you get paid by LeBron's company and you get paid by Undisputed. And what I'm saying is that for a successful black athlete that you are, you made yourself look like a fool because another black man was just critiquing his game. He was not talking about his manhood. He was not talking about his family. He never went personal. All he said was he doesn't have a go-to move at the end of a game. I just don't see where the personal attack is. And then the LeBron fans come swarming in. Oh, man, LeBron's a 4-time champion. And it's like, why are we getting to career accomplishments? We know LeBron is a way better player than Kwame Brown ever was. We know that LeBron didn't say anything to Kwame Brown and never mention his name. We know that. What he was just talking about was the end of the game on the last play. That's it. That's it. And what does Shannon Sharpe do? He turned it into a whole personal attack like he did to Charles Barkley a few years back. Same thing. All of this became insecurity, and he's just yelling at the screen. I don't understand. Oh, look, he just can't, in a no-win situation. Anything LeBron does, this and that. Shannon, it's not that serious, man. It's not that serious. It's really not. And then you hear everybody, oh, man, he's speaking facts. No, he's not, man. No, he's not. Oh, let's talk about Kevin Durant, too. We all know what Kevin Durant said about the toxicity around LeBron when it comes to the media. He has a lot of fanboys. Kevin Durant is absolutely right. I'm not going to sit here and deny that KD doesn't have his fanboys too. Just about every player in the NBA who's a good player, who you really like, people fanboy for. So there's fanboys everywhere. So KD has his fanboys too. But my point is, KD is right. If you listen to Brian Windhorst, when LeBron did not really have an impactful game, Brian Windhorst refused to believe it. He said, no, I don't think it was bad. I was like, LeBron didn't play well in the fourth quarter, but he wants to go to his 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. LeBron didn't play well when it mattered. So his numbers don't mean anything. Oh, but he's 38 and in year 20. And it's like, we've been reminded of LeBron from year 15 all the way to year 20, and we're going to be reminded of LeBron in year 21. I've never seen any player in NBA history be reminded from year 15 to year 21 what year they're in. Every single segment. But it's LeBron. What does Shannon do? Take a fake quote, quoted KD on it. KD called you out on it. You wanted to go back and forth, and you said a lot of mean things about KD. KD said, let's continue. KD says, you want to talk? Let's talk. I got the smoke. What did Shannon do? Shannon backed away and said, I didn't want to talk no more. So Shannon's had his share of issues. Let's talk about Brett Favre. We know about the Brett Favre situation, right? He don't like Brett Favre neither. And that's a whole nother story. But it is pretty deep, man. Shout out to Marvin J. He says, I hope Skip joins First Take again. I don't think that's going to happen. I doubt it. And like I said, Skip is nearing the end of the line, man. Skip only goes off. Listen, bro. Skip hated Kawhi after leaving San Antonio. Jumped on his bandwagon because Uncle Dennis got in his ear. That's it. And he's an opposer to LeBron. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant already called Skip out and says, I don't talk to Skip Bayless, but Skip rode his coattails anyway. Look, Skip rode Joel Embiid, the MVP beggar, and look, his monkey ass is out of the playoffs. And where's Joker at? In the finals. So I asked you, who's the real best big man in the NBA? I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic because Embiid may be more talented on both ends of the court, but you cannot rely on him in the playoffs. Doesn't show up in big games and is injured at the wrong time. Give me Jokic any day of the week. I can depend on him a lot more than I can Joel Embiid. Trust me, Skip Bayless will make Nick Wright cry. And Nick Wright was already crying today when they were talking about Kyrie possibly being a Los Angeles Laker. Y'all notice that the focus and attention is not even about the Denver Nuggets being in the NBA Finals and them being in their first finals in their team history, being the fourth ABA team to be in the NBA Finals, and a lot of stories to go around with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic and Mike Malone and their journey to being in the finals. Or we can't even talk about the history that Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat can make, winning a championship without having a single superstar and doing it with 7 undrafted players. But we can't even talk about that. What are we talking about? LeBron gets swept. Oh, we're talking about LeBron's possible retirement. We're talking about LeBron being paired up with Kyrie Irving. And so we're talking about all these things that are centered about LeBron. Who should the Lakers get to pair up with LeBron to rebuild the roster? Oh, yeah, we know it has to do with Denver being a small market team. They don't care about the small market teams. And a lot of people don't like Nikola Jokic. What people don't understand also is that Adam Silver likes international players. And He's upset because he didn't get Lakers and Celtics because of the moolah. So he has two small market teams. He would not have minded of having the Miami Heat if they had star power, but they don't have that. Well, I shouldn't say star power. They don't have superstar power. That's it. Superstar power. That's what they don't have. I like small market teams for the stories, but it's all about narratives. Duality. Pete says, I would say Joker has the better team. Yeah, he does. I agree. Joker isn't a 3-time MVP to me. I think he deserved his first MVP. I didn't agree with the second one. I don't believe Joker would be a back-to-back MVP if he were black with the exact same stats. The great white hype narrative helped. Hey, let's take a look at this. I mean, remember Steve Nash getting back-to-back MVPs? I didn't think Steve Nash was a back-to-back MVP, but it was the great white hype. And why? It was because of what happened with Malice at the Palace. The NBA had to clean the image because they were looked at as the thugs of the NBA. It was a thuggish league. And it was becoming a young league at the time. Nick Nurse is the new coach of the Sixers. Yeah, I know. Monty is the new coach of the Pistons. He turned down the Suns and a chance to coach KD and Booker. You know, that tells me that James Harden is possibly not going to be a Sixer. If he goes back to Houston, all bets are off on James Harden. I was never really sold on him after becoming the narrative train that he became with the Rockets when D'Antoni came to the team. But it's gotten so bad year after year after year after year since that time. It's ridiculous. It's been 5 years of BS with James Harden. Nick Wright does not like Joker. No, he does not. And it's funny because he changed the standards with Joker compared to some of the other players. He was like, I had to see Joker go deep into the playoffs for me to like appreciate what he's done. And it's like, all right. I said, Mike Malone has used that as fuel. I mean, the Rockets have already failed. I mean, and it's like, if I'm the Houston Rockets, why would I take back a player that just basically quit on my team? He quit. He got called out by DeMarcus Cousins and by John Wall that he quit on them. And it's true. He did quit. He just got his numbers, even though he was out of shape, forced his way out. He did what he had to do. Oh, I agree, duality is true. How can Kwame play 13 years? So that makes him less credible to talk about basketball than a football player that's never played the game. That doesn't make any sense. Same thing with Skip, Mr. 1 point per game average. Skip try to bump it up. He's like, yeah, 1.2. I'm like, Skip, 0.2 of a point doesn't make a difference. You were pretty bad. I just put it that way. And then Stephen A., who loves to scream thinking he's right about everything. What did he average in college? I'll leave it at that. Lawrence says that he's not sure about the Kyrie pairing to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anything goes wrong, even if it's LeBron's fault, they're going to blame Kyrie. You know, I'm trying to understand the logic of these LeBron fanboys, because don't you guys hate Kyrie and constantly say he is absolutely nothing with LeBron? I was proven wrong. Kyrie is not a leader. So I agree with you on that. What I'm trying to understand is, you disrespected him for so long, but you want him to be on the Lakers. Why? Because you know Kyrie can close. You know that Kyrie was the closer in the series against Golden State in 2016. I mean, he did hit the shot that put you up ahead. It didn't finish the game because there was still time left, but he hit the most clutch shot in Cleveland Cavalier history. But what do they talk about? The LeBron block. That's it. They try to erase Kyrie's shot from history. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of Glenn Rivers getting all these opportunities. The only reason that he looked as good as he did was because of the players he had in Boston. He had a real intelligent veteran group. He had Tom Thibodeau being defensive coordinator. He had Kevin Garnett, who has one of the highest IQs in basketball history, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, who has a high IQ. You had great veterans. You had, PJ Brown. You had Sam Cassell. You had James Posey. You had a young Tony Allen. So take that away from Doc Rivers, and then so look at the talent that he's coached. Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, J.J. Redick, Jamal Crawford. You couldn't win with that team, and you blew a 3-1 lead to a Rockets team where Josh Smith, the role player at this point, Corey Brewer, the role player, they outplayed you in the last 2 games of the series. So there's that. Then you come to the Clippers. I'm sorry, you were already with the Clippers, and then you get Kawhi and Paul George. And this is what I realized about Doc Rivers. He does more with less talent than he does with actual stars. Maybe not win a championship, but he does more with less. Don't give him too much unless it's the proper personnel, because if you do, you're not going far with him anyway. And then you take a look at the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, quite honestly, look who he's had. James Harden, a dunce. Joel Embiid, a dunce. Ben Simmons. I just want to laugh my ass off with Ben Simmons. Look at Ben Simmons. Look what he's doing with the Brooklyn Nets now. That dude is a joke. If you're trying to win a championship, he's not the coach you want. I've said that for the longest time. The Jeff Van Gundy slurps his nuts like no tomorrow when he praises Doc Rivers. And I'm just like, and I'm looking at Doc's coaching career, and I'm like, JVG praises him like if he won 8 championships, as if he's Phil Jackson. I'm like, he only has 1. Doc Rivers has won 1 title in 20 plus years of coaching. 1 title in 20 plus years of coaching. Yet Jeff Van Gundy talks about him like if Rivers has won 5 or 6 championships. Like I said, that glorified 2008 championship has done more for Doc Rivers than he even realizes. He's lucky. The man is lucky. Ben Simmons is lazy, man. That dude just loves the money and he loves the lifestyle. That's it. Well, no, Ben Simmons ruined Ben Simmons' potential because he didn't do nothing under Brett Brown. And Brett Brown, who's from the Popovich tree, all he did was just cater to him and cuddle him. Ben Simmons don't need no damn cuddling. And it's sad. Yeah, we got Vogel for sure. Vogel deserves a chance. He does. But like I said, as long as Vogel adapts to today's NBA, he'll get a job. That's why it didn't work out for the Magic, because the Magic, they were a decent defensive team, but they couldn't score. Today's NBA, you got to be able to put the ball in the basket. You need hoopers you need an offense, man. The Lakers screw Vogel because Vogel didn't get to put his coaching staff, and then they just constantly rearranged the roster to favor LeBron, and he just couldn't make it work. They gave him a bad hand. They gave Frank Vogel a bad hand. You need to give Frank Vogel at least a little bit of talent, bro. Frank Vogel, look what he did with the Indiana Pacers that were not the most talented team in the mid-2010s. Look what he did with that team. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were able to win 56 games without having the most talented team. Hell of a job by Frank Vogel. That's a hell of a job by Frank Vogel. He won the championship with the Lakers. Yeah, okay, albeit being the bubble, but he got the job done. He won a championship. He won. He was able to get it done. You got to give him some kind of credit. He was able to do it. And yet Vogel got kicked out because poor rotations, and he was a scapegoat. He was a scapegoat, man. He was a scapegoat. That's what happened. But yeah, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I thought everybody in the chat made some great points. Shout out to shout out to the new subscriber who subscribed to the channel. Definitely appreciate you. And I can't really say that I'm honestly sad. I'm just really more so surprised. There were rumors that were swirling that he might possibly go, but I just feel like the timing of the Kwame Brown going back and forth with him and about LeBron, and then him getting his house robbed, and then all of a sudden he's just gone like that. It's true. Great point, Jay. It's true. Frank Vogel knew Russ's limitations, but Lakers said, no, Russ got to start to feed his ego, and his ego got shot. But I blame LeBron for that. LeBron was the one and then all of a sudden the Lakers organization, yeah. At the end of the season, you could sit Russ now. See, the Lakers front office are full of narrative phonies too. They are. I told you, I've said it on many streams, man. All they want to do is point the finger. It wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was you. It wasn't me, it was you. I didn't take the cookies from the cookie jar. You took the cookies from the cookie jar. That's the game that they play. Jeannie has her girl, Miss Linda Rambis, up in that office. Like, you got friends and you don't got business people making smart decisions. This is stupid, man. Stupid. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Sharpe is going to no longer be. Bro, look at the headset that Shannon got. Shannon looked like a head coach calling the plays. He looked like he could be an offensive coordinator. He could be a tight ends coach. Or he could be the head coach calling the plays on the sideline. That's what Shannon looked like with his little headset on. I know that's not the official NFL headsets that the NFL coaches use, but Shannon looked like he calling plays. It's either he calling plays or Shannon looked like he could work at a fast food restaurant. Welcome to Chick Shay Shay's, man. May I take your order? Anyway, I think Shannon is still being sued by Brett Favre. I think he still is. I know he didn't drop it on McAfee. It's a fair assessment, though. The Lakers are the Cowboys of the NBA. They are, because of that. They're all talked about. Listen, man. Jerry Jones is what I've always said he is, man. Nothing but a celebrity that is so egotistical in his own ways and wants to take all the credit for the players he brings. But then when those players fail to win in the playoffs, the man's either losing in the wild card in the divisional playoffs since they last won the Super Bowl. He wants to take no blame. He knows that he doesn't want to take accountability. That's Jerry Jones. Why does he care? He's a billionaire. He makes money. It is what it is, man. I'm gonna have to find out, but I think I guess the cases were thrown out. I'm gonna have to look into it. I mean, if they were, then I know he dropped it with McAfee. I just didn't know about Shannon Sharpe. But if he did, then he did. But I say this in closing, ladies and gentlemen, as I end the stream. Shannon Sharpe has had a rough 2022-2023 starting in December, as I mentioned in the stream. And the culmination of getting his house robbed with, I mean, look, people have gone far as to associate with Kwame as the reason that his house got robbed. They think Kwame sent somebody to rob his house after Shannon made the backlash remarks. I'm like, he had nothing to do with that. So he's really had a rough last couple of months, from December to now. And we've seen his behavior over the years. And it's crazy because when it comes to LeBron, he kept changing his opinion little by little, because even when LeBron won the 2016 chip, he didn't feel that LeBron was the GOAT at that time. He said if LeBron won a couple of more chips and a couple of more MVPs, that he could become the greatest of all time. But when LeBron wasn't getting it done in the playoffs, little by little, Shannon was starting to change the narrative and cherry pick certain statistics to say LeBron had already passed him. And I'm like, that's not what you said in 2016 when you first started with Skip. You didn't say that. I got receipts. I got receipts. But I think this is really taking an emotional toll on him. Skip, Tom Brady, DeMar Hamlin, the Grizzlies, Antonio Brown. I mean, Antonio Brown was just a couple of years ago, but and then obviously the back and forth with Skip, and now LeBron with Kwame Brown. It's taking its toll. And then getting his house robbed of over $1 million of personal items, personal valuable items. It's taking its toll on Shannon Sharpe. It's taking its toll. And he's decided that he's going to leave. I honestly believe that Shannon should honestly really take this time off to really heal his mind and really understand what he's doing. Now, is he going to do it? I don't know. Because Shannon could go back and he could go back and start twerking once again and do his little club shay pom pom and cheer for Bron and be like Bron's the GOAT. And if you think I'm done, ladies and gentlemen, Scottie Pippen, in the words of Goldberg, you're next. Because Scottie fails to understand, because Scottie's kind of reminded me of the Shannon, even LeBron situation. Scottie Pippen, you're next. You're next. Because I got a video cooking up on YouTube, man. And people are talking about Scottie can't have, why can't the man have an opinion? And I said, you have to understand something. His opinion doesn't make any sense of where he's coming from. It doesn't make any sense. Scottie knows. He knows himself pretty well. He's just going around telling people who is really going to follow and really understand what I'm talking about. It's crazy to me because, and I just want to leave this little tidbit before I read a little bit of the comments. Craig Hodges didn't like Michael Jordan after Michael Jordan refused to boycott the NBA Finals. Notice that nobody ever got on Magic Johnson because he also boycotted the NBA Finals. When Rodney King got into that situation with the police and got beaten, did you hear Magic Johnson talk? Magic Johnson lived in LA at the time. He was the prodigal son and the king of LA at the time. You didn't hear Magic talk. The focus was on Magic and his HIV, but you didn't hear Magic talk about Rodney King, did you? No. Magic Johnson didn't speak on it. People got mad because Michael Jordan didn't speak on it. Shannon Sharpe attacked Michael Jordan. I was like, but you didn't attack Magic Johnson. How come you didn't attack Magic? Jordan's in Chicago. Magic is in LA. Why didn't you talk to Magic about that? And that's the problem with these media pundits, and they pick and choose. They love to pick and choose their narratives. Magic should have spoke on Rodney King, but he didn't do that. I'm not saying that Jordan shouldn't have, but I'm just saying I just find it funny that Magic is in the backyard of Los Angeles and no one ever addressed Magic about Rodney King. That's so funny to me. So funny. But they only go after Jordan because, LeBron, Jordan's the face of the NBA. Listen, I get it. I get it. But I just find it so funny that nobody ever addressed Magic. And he played there. He played there. It's crazy. Magic could do his little club stuff after games with Jerry Buss, the owner. But they didn't talk about it. Jay says, you play with fire, man, you get burned. LeShannon got burned. Maybe he finally woke up. Been a slow spiral since the Raven days. I mean, hey, now that we're speaking on Ravens, he had an issue with Ray Lewis. Y'all remember about Ray Lewis, about when Ray would pray and he would kneel during games? And Shannon Sharpe called him out, and Ray Lewis had to go on NFL on CBS and talked to James Brown, and he was there with Phil Simms and with Boomer Esiason. And Ray Lewis didn't appreciate that Shannon called him out. Y'all remember that too? And Ray Lewis couldn't believe the stuff that was coming out of Shannon's mouth. But that happened years ago. But this year, I really hope Shannon understands what he did to himself. I'm just wondering if it's ever going to come to that realization. And it's just some of the outfits that Shannon even put on. And you look at some of the pictures that he even took with LeBron, it was just like all smiles in just such a weird way. I got nothing. I just, there's nothing wrong with appreciating another player. But when you go all Helga Pataki with a shrine of Arnold all over your damn freaking room, you're making gum. You're making Arnold out of freaking gum, and you have a shrine in your freaking closet. First of all, what kind of man has LeBron bed sheets? You sleep on a LeBron pillow and a LeBron body bed sheets. What the hell? Shout out to Sports Critic. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel, doing some great content with his St. Louis Cardinals and among other sports. But how does a man have 6 LeBron jerseys from Cleveland and from LA? Ain't that a little? I get that if you have a Cleveland and a LeBron jersey because he played for 2 different teams, maybe you have a Heat jersey because he played for the Heat too. But you have 6, and some of them were the same jersey. And then when he puts on his LeBron jersey, he out here flexing. I'm just like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, Shannon, you can't be serious, bro. You cannot be serious. And now Shannon and Ray are no longer friends, and it depends on what side it depends on what side you take. Some people are going to side with Ray, and some people are going to side with Shannon. You know, but I want you guys to leave with this. I want you guys to take a look. The reason that Shannon is leaving Undisputed Sports Critic, and you're just gonna have to watch the replay. Everything is really revolving around Skip, but it started in December of last year with Tom Brady, and Skip got very personal with him. Also DeMar Hamlin, also Kwame Brown, and also John Moran, and also Dylan Brooks. It's just a culmination of a lot of things that Shannon has decided to part ways and have a buyout in his contract. It's been announced all over the internet, Chris Wedge. It's all over the internet. New York Times, the New York Post has posted it. Yahoo, Fadeaway World, all the articles have already posted it. Pete says, well, Louis, LeBron King James wears the number 6, so I wear 6 jerseys to honor him in my Shannon voice. I mean, he had 23 too in Cleveland. But it's honestly, man, just, it's crazy that it's come to this. It really has. I just wonder how the NBA, I could just tell that the energy is really going to be, the energy's already been kind of downhill from there, but it's really going to be now that Shannon's leaving. And trust me, we don't know when we're going to hear Skip. And the funny thing is, I'm wondering how's it going to be down the line, because Shannon doesn't have a lot of days left. So this is pretty much Shannon's farewell tour. It's just the farewell tour is going to depend on ending on when the finals ends, on who wins the series, whether it's the Nuggets or the Heat. But Shannon's farewell tour has begun. It's begun. All we know is that it ends in June. That's it. Just like the NBA Finals, Shannon's career on Undisputed is over. They said 5 years, but no, it's been over 6. It's kind of like people try to be TMZ. It's like the New York Post became TMZ, and then everybody just picked up on it. Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? They found out the reports, and then everybody picks up. You know, and that's what happened. I mean, listen, man, we could have our mixed feelings about Shannon Sharpe, but it's been an unbelievable ride. That's all you can say. I honestly stopped watching Undisputed just because of the topics. Shannon says a lot of funny stuff here and there that makes me crack up. Like I said, Shannon is a good dude, but what people have lost their respect for Shannon just because of the things that he wears and the things that he says when it comes to LeBron James. That's what's happened. And when it comes to, and then, you know, Kwame called him a fanboy. And Shannon does act like a fanboy if you really pay attention to his behavior. It's just that people who love LeBron James, they're going to ride or die with Shannon, not knowing that Antonio Brown called him a clown on TV, because LeBron sure didn't ride with him when he did that. There's something going on. It's just weird. It's just weird. The timing is just weird. Something's up. Something's up. So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there's your boy Louis with another one. I actually wasn't even gonna do this stream, but I just had to jump on everybody else because I was just surprised that this came out right. And it's funny, it came right before the day of the NBA Finals. Weird, but I just had to do it just because I wanted to see what people's reaction was. And who knows if Skip leaked the story, man. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out later on. I'm pretty sure. Another thing that we have to pay in mind is, and I might do a future video on this, is about LeBron's future once he retires. I'm going to get on Scottie Pippen next. But Shannon, you showed as a Hall of Famer. I had a lot of respect for you as a player. I remember you did your Hall of Fame speech in 2011. One of the most heartfelt speeches that I ever heard in my life. When you talked about your upbringings and you talked about your family and you talked about your brother, who, if they're going to put some people in the Hall of Fame, Sterling Sharpe ought to be in there. Amazing receiver, man. And what he did in the first 5 years, you can make a case that he's still in the Hall, possibly a Hall of Famer. It's just he doesn't have enough. And I get that Drew Pearson got in, but that was different because he played in the 70s and he played with the great Roger Staubach. But my point is, Shannon was so revered with the way how elegant and intelligent he spoke. And then he becomes on Undisputed and little by little makes a fool out of himself. Little by little. Well, he was more of a beast with the Broncos. He was past his prime by the time he got to the Ravens, G Money. His prime years are, with the Broncos. Well, no, he played 8 years, but I'm saying like his best numbers were like in a 5-year stretch. That's what I'm talking about with Sterling Sharpe. His best numbers were in a 5-year stretch, but he did play 8 years in the NFL. But yeah, Shannon, look at you now. Look at your face, man. You're out here crying out here in Staples Center. Now crypto.com arena. Like what? All because of this whole sports betting stuff. But it just, Staples Center sounded so much better. We went from the house that Kobe and Shaq built to just that. Like what? Crypto.com arena. All because of these betting. All because of the betting stuff. And now look at you now, man. Depressed. Jay says, Shannon knows football. Listening to Shannon on basketball is like listening to Max Kellerman on anything that isn't the live boxing event. And it's funny because as much as Max knows boxing, there's times that I even have to cringe with even some of his boxing takes. And Max is really, really, really into boxing. Like he gets such a joy and a passion. And I respect that when he does boxing. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why Sterling Sharpe isn't in the Hall of Fame, bro, because his numbers are incredible for what he did in that 5-year span, bro. And Gale Sayers was really more so known for his punt returns. A lot of his highlights are him doing his punt returns, punt and kick returns. That's how good he was. But Shannon Sharpe. A lot of people saying that Kwame Brown broke you. I don't think that's the case. Some people say he got deep fried, but now you can't respond because of it's like it's better that you go separate ways, because quite honestly, we could even say that this probably was a PR move for ratings. Like Kwame says something about Brown. Oh, let's talk about what Kwame says so that Shannon Sharpe could attack him back and go back and forth. It's funny how Shannon Sharpe is talking about LeBron being teared down as a black man, but yet, Kwame Brown, all he did was talk about his game, and you tried to tear Kwame down. And what I don't understand about people saying tearing LeBron down is LeBron James is a billionaire. He makes billions of dollars. The man is not an expert on politics. Where did I get personal when I said that? Politics is a topic. LeBron has no idea what he's talking about. Did I say anything about LeBron's manhood or his family? No. I just say he doesn't know politics. That's it. What do fanboys do? Get upset, get emotional. They get at you personally. Gale Sayers was a good running back, but if you watch a lot of his highlights, a lot of it had to do with his ability to return the ball. He was a good running back for sure. He was. But if you look at a lot of his highlights, it was a mixture of punt and kick returns that he did a lot. He was like the Devin Hester of his time, believe it or not. He was like the Devin Hester of his time. That's who I think about when I watch him return touchdowns. I mean, because Devin Hester obviously played for the Bears, but that's who he made me think about. But Gale Sayers was also a good running back too, though. He was very fluid in his running game. Very elusive. So Gale Sayers was another running back ahead of his time. It was just that he was that like all-purpose return back. It's like he was that versatile player that you could put him anywhere. He was good in special teams, and then you could put him in the offense. That's how good Gale was. He does remind me of Barry Sanders when he ran the football. Like when they actually ran running plays for Gale. He reminds me of Barry. But if you look at a lot of his highlights, he was doing a lot of punt and kick returns too in his day. But at the end of the day, man, ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Sharpe. And Shannon Sharpe, I think you honestly should listen to the advice of Kwame Brown and Steven Jackson. And I know Steven Jackson's got his personal beef with LeBron, but a lot of that also has to do with LeBron fans who have criticized Captain Jack. But I'll leave that for another day. But my point is, LeBron has this thing to manipulate the masses. He constantly says that the media twists his words, but LeBron plays into it when they talk great about him. As long as you say great things about him, LeBron is cool with you. Go against what he says, and you continue to go against what he says, LeBron and his team, they will take care of you. Shannon Sharpe is going to find out the hard way at some point or not. And I also have to say this about, I've said it already many times. LeBron is going to find out how many people are going to start to come out and start talking about him. It's gonna happen. And you think it's bad when he retires? Wait till people start coming out and start talking stories. A lot of his diehard fans they're just gonna come straight to the defense like they always do, playing that first team defense and just say, haters, liars, you ain't got proof, this, and this. I'm telling you, there's probably a lot of guys who have wanted to say things and they're like, well, why can't they say it? Y'all don't understand how powerful Bron and his people are. You don't really understand how powerful they are. And they got some power. And I say this again. What NBA player has been able to have an agency in the NBA? Because Adam Silver's allowed it. That's crazy, bro. I've never heard of that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comment section once the replay comes up. Definitely want to thank everybody taking the time, for people who were just watching the Mets game, and then obviously people who came into this stream right here. We had as many as 35 people in the stream. Guys, continue to hit the like, continue to share, subscribe. I'll be back for the NBA Finals for Game 1. Me and G Money are going to be doing the game. Definitely love and appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. Without you guys, there is no me. I always say that. I just come out and I just put the content. That's what I do. Also, I want you guys to check out my 40-point per game series. I've already done it of playoff performers. My first video was on Allen Iverson, and my second video was on Hakeem Olajuwon. My next video is going to be on James Harden, and I'm going to be going up the list until I get to Michael Jordan, which is going to be the last video. And this is really just about players who have scored the most 40-point games in their playoff careers in NBA history. So I have 11 players on the list. And so, and these are guys who have scored 40 points at least 10 times or more. So Allen Iverson is on that, and yep. Well, here's the thing. Here's how you catch LeBron. LeBron has been in so many pictures where he's been caught on the first page, and to this day he still hasn't passed page 1 in his book. And all Taylor Rooks did was just ask, what did you think about the book of Malcolm X? And LeBron was not expecting her to ask him that question, so he had to think on his feet, and LeBron couldn't. And I remember what he said. He's like, I just got into this book a couple of days ago, and all I got to say is, he was a smart man. And then he started talking, and then he just started going off topic about, people hunting us and, kings and queens. And I was like, what does that have to do with the damn book? I said, I bet you that wasn't even mentioned about Malcolm X. I said, do you know how many things I could talk about Malcolm X? Because I've read a ton of books about Malcolm X. And here you have LeBron, who people keep thinking that he is this politician and that he knows about racism. And it's just like, LeBron is a success story. So I give him all the credit in the world from coming up from what he had to deal with in his life to become a success story. I give him all the props in the world. That deserves an applause. But he doesn't apply the same logic of telling people where you came from to be a success story. He keeps telling you that the police is constantly hunting people down. And I was like, LeBron did not have that energy back in 2013 when he was with the Heat. He was actually praising the police force. When he went to a Justin Timberlake concert, all of a sudden he changed his tune. People are going to call me a hater for that. And quite honestly, I don't care, because I see Bron for what he truly is when it comes to politics. He acts like he knows the answers. And when he gets fact-checked, he's like, he laughs it off. And then he was like, oh, so he wasn't. But it's like LeBron has to validate himself in talking about educated mind this, educated mind that, bro. When you speak and when you can really stand on your words, I can tell when you're educated, but yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, there's your boy Louis with another one. Definitely appreciate you, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. I'm going to call it a night, and I'll be back for the NBA Finals in Game 1. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate y'all, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section after the video replays. We'll be back tomorrow for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for showing up, and thank you guys for liking and sharing the videos, man. I definitely appreciate you. Let me know even your thoughts in the comment section when the video replays up. But just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys. And I want to say have a wonderful night, get some sleep, get some rest, And we'll be back on here tomorrow, man, just doing the damn thing. You already know as Louis Sports Network does. But bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being part of the stream. We chat, we stream, and we are family for life. You already know what it is, man. Take care. Have a wonderful night. And I am...
so many times, and I just wish they would just stop. You know what I mean? Just stop. I mean, he was, Michael Jordan, I'm Kobe Bryant. I mean, we're two different players, and I wish people would just let it go. It really annoys me. Because, you can't compare